Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster3, and yes, I'm finally back with a new video. I know it's been at least 2 weeks almost at this point since I made a previous video, and that previous video was the Ernest movies, the ranking video of that franchise. So, I mean, obviously, I'm going to continue with the 2000 series because I've been talking about that for quite some time now. So, I really feel like I need to get on with it, really. And then, obviously, I'm going to try to make another series, maybe like a 70s one, where I like rank all my favorite movies from each year in the 70s as well when it comes to horror movies. But this particular video is going to be my top 10 favorite horror movies from the year 2004. So, and obviously, I'm also gonna make the top 5 the month of February as well. That's probably gonna be the first priority right after this video. But anyway, let's begin right away with the top 10 list of 2004. And just like usual. I mean, this is just my personal opinion, so it's not like I don't want to offend anyone or like anyone. If anyone has a different opinion, that is just really cool. I really love to hear other people's opinions, and if they really think some of these movies are bad or some of them are good, yeah, keep the discussion going. I really like discussions in general when it comes to movies. So yeah. So let's see here at number 10. Now I would say this is among all of these movies right here. I think this is the most underseen and overlooked movies in general because I don't really hear a whole lot of people talking about this one in general. But at number 10 we have Satan's Little Helper right here, directed by Jeff Lieberman, who directed such movies such as Just Before Dawn, which is an amazing like slasher film from the early 80s, and he also directed I believe it was it, I think he directed Squirm as well, which is a pretty fun killer creature type of film. And he also made that really weird movie called Blue Sunshine, I believe it was called. But this one he made in the early, like I said, I mean, obviously in 2004. And it sort of has this Halloween vibe to it. It's basically about this kid and he befriends Satan basically. So he goes like trick or treating and he like befriends Satan. I mean, this Satan character doesn't really say anything, but he doesn't really realize that this is like the evil, like the Satan himself. But they go around and wreak havoc, and this Satan guy, or like this entity, you could say, is sort of like this guy who's like the main bad guy in the film, and this poor little kid who's sort of like an outsider, kind of like befriends Satan, and it's just a really interesting concept. Really nice Halloween atmosphere to this one as well. So if you haven't seen this one, I can highly recommend this one. It's really entertaining and really underrated. So yeah, Satan's Little Helper at number 10. Now let's see here. Then at number 9 we have a sequel. Let's see how many sequels we have in this one right here. Only 2 more sequels after this one. But then let's begin. Let's continue. At number 9 we have a sequel, which is Ginger Snaps Unleashed. So this is the second one in the trilogy because they made 3 movies. In general, I wasn't a very big fan of the third one. I think it was decent enough, but it's not like top 10 material or anything like that. Some people would probably argue the same way with when it comes to the sequel, because I mean I think this sequel is nowhere near as good as the first one, because I think the first one is one of the best werewolf movies in general. I mean, I really like werewolf movies when they're really done well. This one basically takes place right after the first one, not right after the first one, but it's like I don't know what to say about this particular film because if unless you haven't seen the original Ginger Snaps, I just don't want to spoil the ending to the first one. But this one has a hospital type of setting to it, and maybe that's the reason why I like it really much. Memorable characters, some of them you really despise, and some of them you obviously root for. Great werewolf action going on in this one as well. But yeah, the first one is better, but this one is still a very entertaining sequel. So yeah, Ginger Snaps Unleashed right here at number 9. And then we have this one. I can already see people, how could you rank this so low on this top 10 list or whatever? Uh, I think this is an amazing film. I think the reason why it's as low as it is right now as at this point is because I've seen this film so many times to the point that I've sort of like grown tired of it a little bit, even though I think I can acknowledge it is a very good movie. But at number 8, we have Shaun of the Dead right here. Yeah, the zombie comedy, romance, whatever you want to call it, film. Most people are probably already seen this one at this point, but um, don't get me wrong, I still really like this film, but it's just the point that I've seen it so many times to the point that I kind of like get tired of it. Sometimes when you see like a movie so many times, you can still acknowledge that it's a good movie, but you've probably seen it so many times that you kind of get tired of it a little bit. That's the case when it comes to this film, especially for me. But yeah, great comedy, great acting. I mean, really nice, cool premise. I mean, I don't think there was a whole lot of like horror comedies back in the day when it comes to like zombies like that. I mean, I think this probably popularized it a little bit, especially like in the early 2000s. Obviously, I know we had older like zombie comedy type of movies before this, but this one was kind of like revived it a little bit, you could say. So, but anyway, Shaun of the Dead, number 8. Yeah, there we go. And then we have this one. I can already see people like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? This is from like way later. This is from like 2015, I believe. It's another film which has the exact same title, but this one is from 2004. And this is a British film, and it's the movie called Creep, not to be confused with the found footage movie called Creep, which came out, it's like 2015, 17. I don't really know which year that came out, but I mean, that's like the found footage movie. But this is the British horror movie from 2004, which takes place in this subway area or subterranean tunnels and stuff like that. So this poor girl is like, she's on her way home from like a party or something, and then she kind of like encounters all these like random people, and then she realizes that she's chased around by another person in the subterranean tunnels who apparently lives there. And he's a really freaky looking guy. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I mean, he kind of reminds me of Gollum a little bit. If I mean the Gollum from the Lord of the Rings trilogy or whatever. He has that type of look to it, but he looks more muscular, so it's sort of like a Gollum on steroids or something. I don't really know, but I think this one is really freaky, and I really like the whole atmosphere and the whole setting, because I don't feel like there's too many other horror movies that takes place in like subterranean like tunnels and stuff like that in general. So a great acting, great survival type of vibe to this one as well. Yeah, Creep, really entertaining and really good. I really need to check out that other Creep film. So if you have seen that film, please let me know if that's good or not, because obviously I know it's not the same type of film, because I know that's a found footage style type of movie. But if you've seen that film, please let me know if it's good or not. So yeah, I'm going to check it out regardless. But yeah, just would love to hear your opinion about that one. And let's see here, number 6, we have, I mean, this is like a quadrilogy box set or whatever, but the one I'm referring to at number 6 is the movie called Resident Evil Apocalypse, the second one in the Resident Evil series. And I usually say that the first 3 ones are really great in general. I think the way the third one ended was really cool and really amped up the whole hype towards the fourth film, and the fourth one came out, and I felt that was a big disappointment in general in comparison to the first 3 movies, because the first 3 Resident Evil movies are, I mean, they're stupid fun. I mean, it's not like any movies that are gonna win any awards anytime soon, but I really like the whole survival aspect of these films. But Apocalypse, I mean, it's ridiculous, it's silly, but yeah, I kind of like how it kind of ties together with the first one a little bit, because some of the characters are like referred to and whatever. But yeah, Resident Evil Apocalypse, I think, is a really entertaining and fun movie, and yeah, lots of great memories from this movie in general, or this, especially the first 3 movies. So really nostalgic to me. So yeah, and let's see here. Speaking of survival type of horror movies in general, the next one you could say the same thing about. This is one of the very rare occasions where I actually do prefer the sequel over the first one. But I think I talked about this movie for quite some time back in the day when I made my like unpopular opinion type of video or whatever. But at number 5 we have Anacondas: The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, which I think this was the very last one that came out like in the cinemas, I believe, because I think the part 3 and 4 was like straight to DVD type of thing, and I did not really like 3 or 4 that much in general, but I thought they were really bad in comparison to the first 2. The first one is actually pretty good as well, but I mean, this one has just that special type of survival atmosphere to it, which I just really enjoy. And it feels like you don't really see a whole lot of movies like this anymore, when it comes to like a group of people that are like stranded somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and they get like hunted by some creature or some animal or something. It feels like you don't really see that a whole lot in general these days. So I think that's what I would love to see more in like newer like movies in general. So I mean, the acting is so from time to time. Some of them are better than the others, but I would say the one thing that really throws me off a little bit about this particular film, if I'm going to criticize it a little bit, is that some of the CG hasn't really aged very well when it comes to the snakes and like some of these scenes. But props to them, because they kind of like mix the CGI with practical stuff as well. So I thought it was a very unique style to that one. I think the other ones were just CGI in general, and you don't really care too much about the other ones when it comes to that. But Yeah, this one, I really like this movie as well. I remember I watched this back in the day on one of those like movie channels, I believe, and I just really fell in love with all the survival aspect of this film. Now I just feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again, but yeah, let's move on. So yeah, Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid at number 5. Now let's see here. At number 4, we have a movie which I do have in my collection, but for some weird reason I couldn't find it. I know for a fact I have this one and the sequel. Um, and some people would probably say, is this really a horror movie or not? But I would say this: if the Blade movies are horror movies, I would still consider this one to be horror movies as well, even though it's more action oriented, more so than a horror oriented. So at number 4, we have Hellboy, the original one from 2004 with Rob Perlman as Hellboy. And I know some people actually prefer the sequel over this one. I prefer the original one just because I kind of like the whole origin story to how he got created, like during the Second World War, like a failed experiment type of deal. I really like that origin story to that one, and I think the character development in the first one is a little bit better than the second one. Even though I think the second one is a really good sequel as well, I'd still say the first one is a little bit better. So that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, Hellboy at number 4. There you go. So you have to take that for what it is. I mean, some people wouldn't necessarily call that a horror movie, but I mean, if the Blade movies are horror movies, you could sort of say like the Hellboy movies are also kind of horror oriented, like horror movies in general. So, yeah. So let's see here. Number 3, we have this one, which I think is actually really entertaining and good, like remake. I know some people just really despise this one, but I personally I really enjoy this one. And yeah, number 3, we have the Grudge remake. Uh, and I would still say that the original one is better, but that doesn't say necessarily that this is a bad movie. I think this is a very entertaining and cool remake, and I believe this is actually also directed by the same director of the original one, Takashi Shimizu, I believe his name is. Um, I think also what really helps this particular film is the score by, I think it's Christopher Young who does the score for this one, the guy who's probably most famous for doing the score for the original Hellraiser movie. It's just a very creepy and eerie type of soundtrack that really helps this movie in terms of atmosphere. I think the acting is decent enough as well, and I think the jump scares in this one. I mean, I don't really like the whole jump scare vibes when it comes to like newer films in general, but I think this one really does it really well. And I think most of those early 2000s like jump scare movies, if you will, they were not overfilled with those segments, so they kind of like relied more on the atmosphere to build up a little bit before you get like a jump scare. In comparison to the newer ones where you just basically have like a jump scare every like 3 minutes. I think that is just really lazy and really stupid and more annoying so than like actually scary. So, but anyway, the Grudge remake I think is really entertaining. I did not care too much for the sequel to the remake, and the third one was just a very, yeah, that was just really forgettable in general. But the original, not the original one, but the remake and the original, you could say, really, really great films. So yeah, the Grudge remake at number 3 right there. And then we stay in Asia for a while, and we watch and we watch. I can't speak anymore. So at number 2, we have another one of those like ghost type of movies. And that's, yeah. So yeah, number 2, we have the original Shutter right here from Thailand, and this one is actually one of the. I remember the first time I watched this. This one really freaked me the hell out because this is one that really knows really how to like deal with like jump scares and great creepy atmosphere, and I think the acting is really great as well, even though I don't know the language, but I think the acting felt very like genuine and really really good in general. um and I don't want to spoil this very much in general because I think this is definitely one film that you should just experience for yourself without anyone like really anyone telling anything about it. But um I think if you want a really great, creepy, like really scary, sort of like ghost movie, look no further because this is one that I remember back in the day. This was like on my top 10 most scary movies back in the day. Yeah, really entertaining movie, Shutter. I mean, I have seen the remake as well. The remake is decent enough, but the problem with this with the remake is that I believe that one was relying way too much on the jump scare bits, and I don't think the atmosphere wasn't really there in when it comes to the remake in general, in my personal opinion. But I think the acting in that one was still pretty good. So, but anyway, Shutter, the original one, really great movie, really great sort of ghost movie. Um, if you can call it ghost movie, some people would probably say, oh, it's like a haunted spirit type of thing. But yeah, whatever. So let's see here. What could possibly be a number one right here? You might wonder. It is the original, the very first Saw movie. And then you might ask yourself, what is this all about? This is like the 7-pack of the first 7 movies. I have seen the other ones, except for that one, which was just called Spiral, the Book of Saw, or whatever that was called. That was a stupid title, and just based on that title, it kind of made me not want to watch that film because that title was just really stupid. But I mean, the original Saw movie, really great. Really, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's as good the second time when you watch it, because this is a film that I still watched lots of times, and the ending is not as effective, obviously, as if you compare it to the first time you watch it. But yeah, I'm just so mesmerized by how well this movie, I mean, how well made it is, especially when you come think of what a low budget this one really was when they made this film in comparison to some other like mainstream movies back in the day. Um, I would still say, I think when it comes to rewatchability, I would probably say that part 2 and 3 are more rewatchable, even though I still think the first one is really, really great. And Jigsaw himself, John Kramer, or Toby Well, if you want to call him that in real life, he does such an amazing job in these movies. And I think he's really the heart and soul of this entire series, which is kind of ironic since he's pretty much like the bad guy, or he's still really the bad guy. Some people would probably say he's more of a, he kind of plays God in a way. It's weird to say, but you get what I mean. But the original Saw movie, really great, really entertaining. I think I think I read somewhere they were planning on making yet another Saw movie, but I think that got cancelled or something. And let's be honest, we don't really need any more Saw movies, because I think there's like at least 10 or 11 Saw movies at this point. But yeah, I would usually say that the first 3 Saw movies are really, really good. The 4th one is decent enough for what it is, and then after that, I feel like part 5 and 6 in particular were just really forgettable in my personal opinion. 7th one I prefer actually more so over part 5 and part 6, but yeah, they are what they are, and yeah, you have to deal with that. But yeah, the original Saw movie nonetheless is at number 1 right here on this top 10 list. So there you have it. That's my top 10 horror movies of 2004. Next video, I think, is going to be the top 5 for the month of February. And then obviously I'm going to try to continue with the 2000 series, and we'll see what happens after that. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment or two. Please let me know if you've seen any of these movies. Did I miss out on any movie that should have been on this list? Please let me know what your opinion, which are your favorite top 10 horror movies from 2004. Yeah, I just completely lost track what I was gonna say more. But anyway, if you would like to follow me on YouTube, you could also subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on any new content. I was actually thinking of another thing that I actually might consider to make some sort of like live stream in the future at some point, if there's any interest for that, where we could just like talk about physical media, talk about movies in general, or like whatever when it comes to physical media in general. So if there's any interest about that in general. So but anyway, hope you enjoyed this particular video, and keep your eyes open for the next one, and see you next time. Bye bye.